Recently, Netflix released a trailer about its most anticipated series of the year. Here we can see scenes from Stranger Things and Wednesday, but also from Squid Game. Although there are a few scenes, they reveal very interesting details from Season 3. That's why today on Charlietales I want to analyze these images. And we'll also connect them with other secrets that were overlooked in previous trailers. Ready? Let's begin. The new trailer shows us the same scene of Gi-hun in a gala suit, but there is an important difference. Now Gi-hun says the phrase, "I'm going to stop this game once and for all." This is relevant because it confirms that Gi-hun will continue with his plan to destroy the Squid Game organization. In previous trailers, we saw that he had lost the will to live, and that's why they were going to force him to play. But with this new phrase, it's confirmed that he will regain his will and will fight the organization again. Gi-hun won't just try to survive, he will destroy them. This scene of the frontman with his phone saying the phrase, "kill them all," was also revealed. What does this mean? It's very difficult to define, but I have some theories. It's possible that he's simply giving the order to eliminate the players who lost in the key game. This game is by timed rounds, so the group that doesn't complete the challenge must be eliminated. That would be the simplest explanation, but there are also more interesting theories. In previous trailers, they also let us see this image of the frontman with teary eyes. Something is disturbing him. In this photo, we can notice that he is quite well groomed, but in the next one, with the phone, he is sweating and his hair is messy. Something shocking happened in front of the frontman. This unbalanced him, and he was forced to give the order to kill everyone. That's how both photos are connected. If I had to guess, I'd say that the pregnant player lost in some game and must be eliminated. Let's remember that the frontman turned evil because his pregnant wife died years ago. And in Season 2, we saw how the frontman behaved very kindly with player 222. It's more than obvious that she reminds him of his deceased wife. With this context, the frontman could break down if he is forced to kill this woman. But of course, this is just my theory. Tell me, why is the frontman crying? And who did he order to eliminate? Let's go with another new scene. Here we can see the captain of the guards fighting against a pink guard. This is most likely guard number 11. If we pay attention, we can notice that she wears a triangle mask. And this woman was a triangle. This scene confirms that both characters will fight face to face. Since Season 2, we've had several scenes where a rivalry between them was suggested. Also, there are photos where we see guard 11 with blood on her face. Surely these images correspond to after this fight. The last image shows the elderly player crying inconsolably during the votes. We have already seen images of her suffering, but here she cries desperately. To me, it's more than evident that her son died in the key game. That's why she looks so bad. But if we pay attention, we'll notice that she's looking upward. Surely she's looking at the voting scoreboard. She may be crying because she has to continue playing, even though she begged everyone to quit. Now we'll talk about details that appeared in previous trailers, but that I just discovered now thanks to your comments. For example, here we can see the frontman in a room with monitors. If we look at this monitor, we'll notice something important. It's the player's dorm, and we can see 3 beds. This scene is surely from before the grand final, and confirms that there will be at least 3 finalists. Let's remember Season 1. When only 3 finalists were left, the dorm was arranged to have 3 beds. Gi-hun's, Sang-wo's, and Se-byok's. Now it's the same. However, I must mention something else. In the trailer, we can't see the entire room because a monitor covers half of the image. So in this covered part, there could be more beds. Given the available space, I would dare to say that there will be 5 finalists. I say this because in Season 1, the beds were separated by equal distances. But in this new photo, the beds don't have that same separation. There is room for 2 more beds in this hidden part. I believe there will be 5 finalists in Squid Game. In the previous trailer, we saw this player from the blue team trying to open a door, but he failed, and this frustrates him. He is not a known character to us. However, he is very relevant for something I will tell you now. For months, supposed videos from Season 3 have been leaked. Many of us thought they were fake, but some turned out to be real. For example, this one here, where we see this same man at the door. But the important thing is that in this same video, we can see the YouTuber player trying to catch him, and then we see Thanos' friend approaching to attack. Thanks to the trailer, we now know this leak is real and confirms that Namgyu and the YouTuber player will form an alliance in the key game. In Season 2, they were rivals, and surely Namgyu hates the YouTuber for killing Thanos, but they will have to set their differences aside to win this game. Let's talk about the key game. As you know, players will be divided into 2 teams, blue and red. However, in the trailers, we have seen that some players start with one color and then are on another team. For example, we can see this with the old woman's son, who drew a blue ball, but during the games, he wears a red vest. At first, I thought this was because he swapped vests with his mother to protect her, but I was wrong. The reality is that this happens with many players. The pregnant woman also drew a red ball, but then we see her in the blue team. There's a simple explanation for all this. Supposedly, the key game will be played in rounds, meaning that all players will have the chance to participate as hunters and then as prey. This explains the color changes. The same thing happens with the YouTuber player. At the beginning of the trailers, we can see him on the side of the blue players, but in recent trailers, we have seen him with a red vest. Everyone will switch teams according to the rounds assigned to them. But which of our protagonists will win the key game? We have Gi-hun, the YouTuber player, and the pregnant woman confirmed. I know this because in this released photo, we can see the woman crying on a bench. And we can easily notice that this is the same bench that appears in the tug-of-war game. In the same scene, her ex-boyfriend is cheering her up so she can play. So both will survive the key game. Another character who will reach the semi-final is Thanos' friend Nam-gyu. How do I know? Well, in this trailer scene, we can see a player looking at the hole. And on his uniform, we can notice the number 124. This is the same number as Nam-gyu, so it's totally confirmed. He will survive the key game and reach the semi-finals. The penultimate trailer also showed us this scene for half a second. And it's quite interesting because it happens before the doll game. How do I know? Because here, we can see the numbers on the players' backs. Here are number 100, 353, and 442. These are the same ones we later see entering the doll game. They go in the same order. Therefore, all the players we see here survived the key game and made it to the semi-finals. Continuing with this photo, we can also see Nam-gyu entering the doll game. We can identify him by his hair, and because he wears the jacket wrong. In several photos, we've seen that he usually wears his jacket like that. We already knew he would make it to the semi-finals. But the interesting thing is that if we check his shoulder, we will notice that he wears a red patch. That means he voted to leave the games. This is strange, since we might think he would play until the end, but no, he wants to leave. Something must have happened during the key game, and it traumatized him enough to become fearful. He no longer wants to play. This is a minor detail, but I found it curious, so I'll mention it. In the trailer, we can see that the trans player fights against player 226. She even performs a wrestling move on him. But if we zoom in, we'll notice that something flies off during the fight. This is the hair tie that player 120 uses to hold her hair. In the trailers, we can see that she starts the game with her hair tied, but later she wears it loose. This is because here she lost her hair tie. It's a tiny detail, but it helps us understand the order of events. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.